Too much for trucking insurance? What if you could save more by making one simple phone call and keep more profit? You could very well do just that with one simple call to Sebrite Agency, 800-366-6466. Call now. With over 35 years in business, top shelf customer service, and innovative commercial insurance solutions, here's what our commercial trucking community says about Sebrite.
I haven't had a claim as of yet, but I would rate them at a 5 just based on customer service. How nice everyone is when I call with questions. Robbie.
I am glad I made the switch. I saved roughly $450. A huge difference. Saving big with Sebrite. Darlene.
I have nothing but great things to say. Incredible answering my questions, helping me set up my policy, making sure everything is correct. Super friendly. Anthony.
If you're a Swift transportation contractor, Contractor's Corner Consulting Group and Sebrite have a special rate just for you. When you call, mention you are a Swift contractor and you are interested in the Contractor's Corner deal to save and keep more of your money in your pocket. Not a Swift contractor? No problem. Mention Contractor's Corner and let us show you the savings.
We asked the Sebrite team to help us help contractors save and keep more money. What they came up with exceeded by far what we thought was possible.
Call now to see what you can save. Sebrite Agency, 800-366-6466.
Banana, I'm live in Phoenix and I made it. I just walked in this office like 3 minutes before we hit start. Okay, it was 5 minutes before we hit start. 2 minutes before I was supposed to hit start, Jeff is talking. You know what? Stop. You know what? Look, just you stop it, sir.
Facts are facts.
You're right. Facts are facts. Words matter. Look, there's Rosie. Hi, Rosie. Say hi, Rosie. Say hi.
I think people were taking bets on how long it would take you to get through the fuel line.
Oh, dude, it was not cool. It was not awesome. Rosie's going to pay attention on the YouTubes. So, hey, everybody. I see people here. We made it. Let's see. We got Bear Hunter. You know what? And your
number one was, I'm going to let you say that, number one.
Hey, me. Hey, me. Hey, Matt. Hey, me.
At 11:48 p.m. last night.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. And James Bond was in at 3:02 a.m. last night. Craig Hutchison at 7:11 this morning. Bear Hunter at 9:11 this morning. Y'all, there's something wrong with y'all, but I love it and I think it's cool. Timothy Ransom, good to see you. Barb, good to see you, Barb. Hope that Bobo's still running awesome. Brian Jess, I see you, sir.
Oh, she's in the shop, dude.
Oh, that's not good. We'll get back to that then. Let's see. Life on 18 Wheels. I see you. Ken Kelly, good to see you. Oh, look, there's Rosie saying hey. She's like being all part of the thing.
Hey.
Trucking with Otis Campbell. Greetings. Welcome. Trucker Dan. Hey, buddy. Good to see you. Andrew Bagwandine. Good to see you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Detention paper, 3 minutes. Nice. Look, you know what? Get in line. How's that? Blackbeard, and good Lord, there's a bunch of you here popping in. I dig it. Glad you're all here. This is going to be a good show to listen to because this insurance stuff is going to be pretty awesome, I think.
Oh, hey, Gabe made it home. Good.
Nice. Good job, Gabe. We'll talk about you further down the road for sure. We've got a story to tell there, not today, but soon. Travis Jones, I see. Whew. Yeah, there's a bunch of y'all. So get this. You know what? Let's do the fuel surcharge real quick and we'll get through this real fast. How's that? What do you think? Yeah? Sounds like a good plan to me. I don't know what buttons to push. There's no buttons. I can't find the buttons. There we go. Hit this one. Bam. Pow. There's a fuel surcharge. So the national average went down Oh, good Lord. 0.096 to 3.922. West Coast Pad 5 dropped 0.051 to 4.630. Brings the fuel surcharge this week to 4.39. And I feel weird sitting in this weird spot like this. I don't even know where to go. Anyhow, and that's a change of negative 0.016. But the West Coast fuel surcharge went up to 11 cents because the disparity between the Pad 5 and the National is 0.708. So that is done. We can move on and we can get into important stuff like Tony. And I don't need to be the big guy. And there's Travis checking in from Nashville. Good Lord. And I think Tony's going to be ready. So I'm just going to throw Tony up here because it's fun. Bam!
Dude.
There he is.
Mr. Dennis, how the heck are you?
Well, I'm good. How are you guys?
Tired, man. It was a long day. Like, seriously. I stopped 3 times the whole time that I drove today. One was on the side. Oh, yeah. There was a big, wide desert pullout. That was the employee restroom. I had to do a 30-minute break. Oh, wait. I stopped 2 times today. That was it until I got here.
I didn't stop at all.
It was a long day, dude. Well, whatever. You're magical. So, Tony Dennis is here from Sebrite. For all of those who don't know who Tony Dennis is, I can't believe any of you don't know who Tony is. But here's the crazy thing. We actually have his face on screen. And, you know, we've been telling people he's a vampire. He can't be videoed and all these other things. And, I mean, I don't know. Now, we've ruined the myth. Right?
Yeah. Because I never got mine back from Vegas.
Are you serious?
Really?
Nope.
Oh, man. That sucks. That was like your whole like satchel, like briefcase and everything, right?
Whole 9 yards.
Oh my God. That is not cool. I don't even know how to deal with that. I wouldn't know what to do. I feel like there was important stuff in there and I think my brain would have broke.
I'm over it now. How's that?
Oh, well, you're a better man than me because I'd still be hung up. I'm going to be hung up on it now for the next year, Tony, and it's not even my laptop.
I'm over it. This one's clean. There's nothing in it. I have no history.
Nice. Nobody knows that. Never mind. Anyhow, so we brought Tony here because we've had some things happening over the last few weeks with the insurance and things like that. And those of you who did not make it to Vegas missed this amazing talk that we had about the claims process. And it's not what most people think it is or anything of what they're used to at present if they're on our current provider, the current Swift offering. Yeah, it's a whole different world. So we brought Tony here to talk about what is it we need to do? How do we handle these things? Jeff, what am I missing? Because my brain is frazzled.
Nothing really. Other than Brian, Jess, we have an answer for you, but we'll get to that here in a minute. I'll tag that one for later.
I just need to find a soda. So, Jeff, cover me for a minute here. I'm struggling.
Okay. So, Tony, what we asked you on for was to go over the claims process, because when you went over the claim process with us in Vegas, we were like, okay, that's not what we're used to with our auto insurance, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, and now that we've had drivers insured for 2.5 months, we've learned a lot about Swift. We've learned some of the shortfalls of the current program that never was addressed. And I think we ought to talk about that. We'll go through the claims process, but I think when we get to the center of it, we'll interject. I'm assuming since all 4 of the claims that we've had all resulted in the same scenario. So I think what we ought to do is tell you what the problem is, tell you how we fixed it, how we got 2 insurance carriers to step to the plate and help.
Right.
So I think that's what we should do. And then I think we should start with the claim, because most of what I'm hearing from the calls that I'm getting or the office is getting, which come to my desk. When you're involved in an accident with another vehicle and you've damaged your truck and there's property damage, the first thing that you need to do, and I really can't stress this enough based on the last two that we just had, is you have to make sure that you're taken care of. Your body's okay, right? You don't need to jump out and be a hero. You really need to calm down, assess yourself, make sure that that vehicle didn't land you in harm's way. If you're on a busy lane interstate where traffic's whizzing by every 15 seconds, maybe you do need to get out. But if you've tore the driver's side of your door off, climbing out on the passenger side into traffic probably isn't a good idea.
Right.
See back there. So we've had a driver hit with a mirror on a camper. So, you know, make sure your wits are about before you climb out of that truck. If you've hit another vehicle, make sure people are aware and call the police, right? Get the police to come, stop traffic, put you in a safe place.
Right.
The second thing that can happen that most of you may or may not realize, if the police officer has come to a conclusion that you need treatment, they are going to take you away. And so at the time, if they're going to cite you, if you're at fault, you're going to walk out of there, climb in an ambulance, go to the hospital. And the first thing you need to do is pull your OCAC card out so you have an insurance claim number for that medical bill.
Right.
Right. Get through that service. You need to know, you need to ask when he releases you if he's cleared you. Because what will happen, and a driver a week ago, he was not cleared. And then he was put back in another truck and drove 4 legs and then sent home. And he has a doctor's appointment tomorrow to find out if he is cleared to drive. That's number one. It can eliminate a lot of headaches. So the next thing that you're going to wake up and figure out is you're left at a hospital. You need a place to go. And you have no vehicle.
Right.
In all 4 cases, they had no idea where their vehicle was towed to. In some cases, they are not aware of the police department that took them, right? So if it's a state patrol, you're not going to get to your truck that night. You're not going to drive your truck that night. You need to go to a secure place, a safe place, a hotel, whatever. You will need to get there. So you're going to end up in a cab. You're going to end up in an Uber. You're going to end up in a hotel. If you have no credit card, which can happen because somebody put your wallet on the center console, and when they whisk you away, you have no mechanism now to pay for that room, to pay for that cab, other than the cash in your pocket. After you get through that point, the next morning when you get up, the claim begins for you, right? And you need to get home. Right. It is your responsibility, according to SWIFT, to get home. So I think this is where we can interject. So we've actually got an endorsement being made. You get to a hospital after an accident. We have the endorsement. I haven't got it priced final, but it will come tomorrow. We will offer you this endorsement, which would actually pay for the cab, Uber, whatever you choose to get to a hotel. We'll actually pay for the hotel. Right. So in the morning when you get up, you can start the claims process. And this is where we differ from when I was in Vegas. Prior to this, you would have been responsible for every bit of this yourself. Right. And you had to get home. Right. If your truck is not going to be drivable and you're in Georgia and you need to get back to Ohio, you have to figure out how to do that. Somebody going to drive down and get you. Is Swift going to give you a truck? Can you even drive? Right. And make sure you can drive before you jump in that truck. Make sure your family doctor has given you a release. Right. So you don't continue to further injure yourself. So we need to take care of that. So Now you've had your accident. Your truck is damaged. You have decisions to make. The first one is that the insurance adjuster will come and do an estimate. And typically, most of you think that your insurance agency or the adjusting firm just takes care of this from soup to nuts. That is
Right.
not true. You are responsible for the well-being of this claim. The insurance company has an agreement with you that says you wreck your truck, I will fix it if I can. And if I can't, I'll reimburse you for whatever you agreed to insure it for, whatever the
Right.
current value of that truck is. But let's say it's not total. Let's say it's just an injured truck and it's got $10,000 worth of damage. Next thing is, if you're in Ohio, you've already went home, your truck's in Georgia, you can ask us for qualified shops. Maybe Swift has a qualified shop that they can recommend. You pick the shop. If we were to pick the shop and something went awry with that repair, we're liable, right? Because we told you to go there. So most insurance companies want you to pick your shop, and it's up to you to follow through with the adjuster. So a lot of this is done by us. So we'll get through the what the adjuster sends out. It'll be sent to the body shop. We'll pick the truck up, tow it from the tow yard. We'll pay the storage bill, and now it's at the repair shop. If the other person's at fault and you believe that they will pay 100% of that damage, you can turn it into that insurance company. You may find yourself waiting, excuse me, a long time for them to settle with you while that truck is down. If you turn it into your insurance company, we'll fix that truck. We will go after the other person. We will not collect in most cases unless you asked us to, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to collect your deductible. So if you choose to put it on your own insurance, you're not at fault. You're just sitting there and you got hit, right? You want it fixed quick, you turn it into your insurance company, you will pay the deductible.
Right.
We'll subrogate. At that point, the reason that you will have to subrogate for that $1,000 or your deductible is because you may have further injuries of downtime and other things that you want them to pay. Your physical damage coverage will pay for the repair of the truck. The balance of that will come out of your settlement with them. So you will make a claim against that policy. Now you can do it in harmony with us, and our attorneys will bring you into it, but our attorneys aren't going to go after personal injuries or other things that you may be entitled to, right? And so you want to make sure that you think of that. If you choose your insurance company for speed, the deductible's at play and you will pay. Right? If you choose the other insurance company and 6 weeks from now, that truck's still sitting in the tow yard, we have no recourse. We you can turn it into us, but as far as we're concerned, the original notification began on whatever day, and 6 weeks later, that's when our clock ticks, right? Because all that storage we would have eliminated by picking that truck up, moving it to a repair shop, putting it into an estimate, and get parts ordered to put you back on the road as quickly as possible. And in today's environment, there's such a shortage of parts out there for a lot of these trucks. You're going to find them sitting because you can't get parts. Right. You can't blame us. You can't blame. It's just the way it is today. So that downtime becomes important, right? So when it's all said and done, that downtime can be litigated by you to collect it from that insured. And most of the time it's done without a fight, right? They'll initially give you a few bumps and bruises, but realistically, most carriers don't want to be in litigation over, a couple $10,000, $15,000. It just isn't worth it. Right. So you'll find that to be true. The second thing is, once you get that claim moving, right? The adjuster will turn it over to the repair shop. He will issue a check. That check's going to be made payable to the driver, the owner of that truck, and whoever's got the lien on that truck.
Right.
Right. So if it's Swift, your personal bank, that check will come made payable to you and the other institution. And that's to protect them. Right. So now you got a business decision. Your truck's in, the repair company's come back and told you it's going to be 8 weeks before your part comes in. Right. So if you damage anything electrical, I can tell you in most of these parts, we're not seeing them. So you run a risk. Now you have to make a business decision. Do you go out and rent another truck? If you do rent another truck, as long as the value is comparable to your current truck, you don't have to go out and put physical damage on that new truck, right? Now, if you're driving a $25,000 truck and they put you in a $250,000 truck, you will owe insurance premium for the difference between the $25,000 and the $250,000.
Right. That's going to suck.
Yeah. So your premium will went up dramatically. So when you get into that rental vehicle or Swift assists you to help, just keep in mind, if you're driving a $100,000 truck and they put you in a $100,000 truck, there's no harm, there's no foul, and that truck is covered. You have to tell us that it's there, and we would put an endorsement, right? And that endorsement you would keep, and then we'll give you the auto ID card for the physical damage, and so you would take off from there. The second thing you need to know is, and the progress of that claim in the workshop is your responsibility. You need to call as they tell you it will hit stone, it'll hit this milestone, then it'll be done in 10 days. You need to follow up. I would tell you to follow up every 5 days just to make sure it's on track. There may be supplement work that has to be completed. So it's an adjuster, in their defense, they look at your truck as best they can. Sometimes the body shops will tear them down so you get a really good look. Sometimes they're busy. They'll come out. They'll take, look through, pick out all the parts. The guy pulls it in. The mechanic calls back and said, I need an extra part. It's a supplement. And he'll work directly with the insurance company for that secondary check. Okay. Right. When you pick it up, your deductible, if you used your own insurance, would be due at that point. Right. And now you can put it back on the road. You take that thing for a test drive, make sure it handles well, stick a load on it, put a trailer on it, and drive the truck before you give them that final check. Because once you've pulled out of that shop, it's hard to get body shops to admit to making a mistake, right?
Oh, yeah. They're just like, screw you. You took it. You're good. Be gone.
Right. So they got their $10,000 and they're off to the races. So you want to make sure before they are allowed to take cash, all those checks, that you're satisfied with the work, right? And when you leave the body shop, you want a warranty from them on the work that they've done, right? To guarantee. Shops are busy and everybody can make a mistake. Chances are you'll have no problems, but every now and then you will have an issue. If you have an issue with a body shop, there are two ways to attack this claim, which is, and I'm bringing this up because it's a current active claim. You can fight it yourself. It is a tough, arduous path if that's what you choose. The adjuster that did the adjustment will actually come back to examine that truck, and he can tell you that truck is repaired and you may not like it, or he may say, no, this is not correct. And then it becomes a fight with an insurance company and he can force it to be fixed to your benefit, right? Also, if your truck isn't brand new, you have a thing in your contract that says they can use reasonable parts, right? So they can do brand new. They can, if you break a fender or something or a mud flap bracket, they can actually go to a junkyard and pull off a quality part and put it on. They can't put on junk, but they can put on.
As long as it's like kind, right?
Like kind and quality, right? And typically I don't see very many complaints against that clause, but I get a lot of questions about what does that mean. They won't stick a rusted piece of crap on your truck. They make sure, because their name is out there, and they want to protect their business, and their business is to repair trucks. So I see very, very few disgruntled claims in that behalf, right? The biggest problem that you have in this is now you've claimed it, and now you're in your truck. Now you go, well, wait a second, I'm out money. This claim cost me money. And you know how I know is because from the time the claim happened till you pick up that truck and you're on your road, you can assess how many dollars you lost as a result of that accident. Right. So now you come to us and say, I want to make a claim against the other insurance company. We don't do that for you. The insurance company certainly won't do that for you. They may go after your deductible, but you're entitled to, let's say that the truck costs you an extra $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month even.
Right.
You want that money back, right? So Sebrite, if you call in, we will actually help you. We'll contact the carrier and the AIF, which is the primary insurance company, would not secure the claim only to their benefit. So even if they settled for the amount of the damages to the truck, they're only settling for the damages, not for other outlying risks.
Lost wages, things like that.
Hotel costs, all the things that you would have spent as a result of that claim. And claims are expensive, not just your deductible, right? You're going to lose a few days, even if everything goes well, right? You're not going to crash next to a rental site. You will need help and to get yourself cleared. So you got to go to the doctor. Those bills will all need to be put into a file and kept. And at the end of the day, when you pick that truck up, the first thing you ought to do is to sit down and compare it to an average month. How much money did you generate and what was your profit? Because that's all you can get. You can't get earnings. So if you run 1,000 miles and they give you a check for $1,200, you don't get $1,200. You get the profit of that 12. Right. So they're going to subtract the truck payment. If you had to make 2 truck payments, then they're going to pick that up for you. Right. You're going to show that as an expense that's undue, and you will be able to collect that. Right. And now your claim is done. You put it back on the road. I'm assuming Swift will have requirements for that truck to be checked over, brought back in, and Swift will give it a clean bill of health to put it on the road.
Right.
And we don't know. I don't see that part of it, but a typical motor carrier, that's what'll happen. Right. So now all of a sudden, if you back up just 1 second, you're in the claim in the middle of it, and you make your call and you find out it's not going well. So then you can call the claim service department, which will end up on my desk, and I will call, or somebody will call the repair shop to argue on your behalf. And we'll take the emotions out of it that you might bring, Charlie, when you're all worked up.
Me? No.
Because Jeff is just calm, cool, and collect.
Right.
Yeah. And
I'm
so
cool as a cucumber right here.
and so that's what you want us to do. You want us to bring into it. The other thing is, so that's a typical accident where you've hit things. Some of the other things that we see that are common, Jeff decides to drive down the road and he hits a screw or a bolt or whatever and gets a hole in his oil pan, right? So the rule is, like it or not, if what the object fell off the back of a pickup, hit the road, it's collision.
Right.
If it falls off the vehicle, truck or otherwise, and hits you before it hits the ground, then they're liable. And you can make that claim against them.
So I did not understand that how different that was. Just that simple bounce, bam. So it touches the ground. It's a whole different world.
It is a different claim. It is a different process. And I know people don't like that, but the system is the system. The idea of insurance I know most people won't believe me, but the idea is to really make you whole, not to make you profit, but
Right.
to make you whole. If you
Right.
litigate for pain and suffering, that's a different animal. But
Right.
the coverage that we're talking about for you guys is to make you whole, right? And it's a process. And if you work the process correctly, in most cases you won't be injured. There's always these freaky things that I've never seen that the minute I say that, something will pop up in my world and change my opinion. But the idea is to make you whole, to get you back on the road as quickly as we can. If we can't get you back on the road quickly, then you have to make business decisions, right? And that's renting a truck. And what do you do with the truck payment you have? Does Swift have a provision that says if your truck is down, you don't have to make the truck payment if it's under a lease? I would assume that you're required to make that truck payment, right?
Right.
Yep.
I would assume that. So that means you got to work or take it out of savings. And then you have 2 truck payments to make if you're making a lease payment, right? So then you need to look at other forms of coverage to cover that additional expense, right? So you need to look at those things. And once you've made that decision, then the best thing to do is call the office and we'll sit down with you and go through your exposure. You need to talk to Swift because Swift is your partner in trucking.
Right.
That's what they are. If you're an owner operator, they are really your partner. And hopefully they treat you like a partner and you need to treat them like a partner, right? Because you're in business together. Now, so we get through that portion of the claim. The second thing that you'll have to resolve in the very beginning of this claim is when your truck goes down and it becomes totaled, right? So you insure it for your value, and hopefully the girls do a great job explaining it to you, but we're going to cover it just to make sure. You have a lease agreement. Your lease is based on the earnings of what you're going to make with a payoff in the end.
Right.
So you're only paying under the lease. Now, if you purchase it, it's different, but under that lease, you are only paying for the value of the use. And there's a payoff at the end of it. So in a lot of these trucks, you'll see an $80,000 payoff. So we have to cover the value of the lease plus the payoff, right? And it changes every month. They give you a schedule. I mean, Swift tells you, hey, this is where you're at. This is
Oh yeah, every week we got it from start to finish. Could tell you what the value is owed every damn week till the end. So
correct. So all those values are based on your payment. What's not put in that equation is if there's an abundance of used trucks flood the market, what happens to the value of your truck?
The real value goes down.
It goes down. So the insurance company only covers the market value of that truck. So most of you have gap and will pick up that difference up to 25%.
Right.
So if the market value on the truck says 100, but you owe 125, they'll pick up the difference. Okay. And then you have to get ready to purchase your new truck or to lease your new truck. And if that truck is totaled and you want to get back to work, our suggestion is start the process. Don't wait till you settled for the truck.
Right.
Right. And when you get that check, you're going to find out that check's going to be payable to you and Swift.
Right.
Right. And so you will have to go in with that check to your terminal to settle that claim. And then my assumption is if the check is for more than the payoff for both parties, they would have to cut you a check. Am I correct?
I don't know. I've actually questioned that whole thing because of the way that some of the contract reads. I actually had that question and have never gotten an answer out of anyone in a position who could answer it or was willing to even try to answer that. So it's something I'm actually going to work on to figure out their answer to.
So yeah, but I would assume you're entitled to it. It is a lease, and they're not injured. If they got 100% of their money, I would assume that they would cut you a check. So the question I get is, well, how long does it take to get to me? I
Right.
would have no way of knowing because I'm not a Swift employee, and
Right.
I don't cut the check. We're asked, can you cut 2 checks, one to them and one to us? It's typically not done, but if
Right.
this continues, until we'll probably have to address it with Swift or have you address it with them, so that we're in harmony, so that we can make it smooth for both Swift and the driver, right?
Right.
The idea is to protect both parties, and that's really what we have to do. Okay?
Right.
So when you get hurt and you're injured, stop. You have occupational accident, you have a card, you have an ID, you have a policy number. Don't jump out of your truck till you can observe the situation.
Right.
Call the police. If you've hit other vehicles, you ran one over your trailer, and you can get out safely without cars running by you, make sure you assess that. Nobody's going
Right.
to tell you to jump out of that truck and run over and save them, but we all have kindness in our hearts, and that's what we would try to do. And you don't want to get hurt doing that kindness.
Right.
Right. I mean, I really, we've all had our bells rung a little bit, right?
Mhm.
And you get in an impact accident, you might have your bell rung. Just remember that.
Right.
So secure yourself. Call the police. They'll be there quickly. And the other thing is, you may be required to do a drug test, right, when you get to the hospital.
Oh, just plan on that happening.
Yeah,
Let's just be
yeah.
real.
And then you have to notify us. I don't need to be called immediately. And you guys all have my cell phone number. I took this claim at 2:00 in the morning.
Right.
And got him to his room, and we took care of him. I really think this guy appreciates it. I will answer my phone. But you take care of yourself, know where the truck went if you can, so we can start the process rolling, right? So most of these claims, they come in, they don't know where the truck went. It's hard to
Right.
tell an adjuster to get ready to go somewhere we don't know, because they try to put the adjuster as close to the truck as we can. And that's, so we won't assess if we don't know, even if we know the vicinity, until we reach out and find the officer. Somebody will be able to tell you.
Right.
Mhm.
And then we'll assess. And no, they don't do assessments over Saturdays and Sundays. It is a Monday
Right.
through Friday kind of a job.
Right.
So there will be a new policy for you to look over, which will actually pick up that hotel cost, pick up that Uber cab cost, and get you home.
And that's going to be attached to the OCAC, if I remember right. Right. It has something to do.
Yes, it'll
under
be
that.
it'll be an addendum to the occupational accident, right? And so it will have a cost, whether it's $10 or $12.
Right.
They haven't given me that. I will actually tomorrow at 10:00. I'll have it, but for $12 a month, I don't know how you beat the cost for an airfare one time in your life, right?
Right.
Or
At the one
hotel
time you
room.
really need it.
Yes, and
And that's been a thing. I mean, we've seen it now, well, 3 or 4 or 5 or
three
more times.
times, 3
And
times.
they're stranded. They have no way to go anywhere. And for whatever reason, it always seems to be the fact that it was the worst week they've ever had in trucking. So they've got no money. They forgot their card at home, or they left the credit card with the daughter for prom.
Family.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And that, who'd have thought, right? Oh, I'm just going to go out for a week and I'll be back. No big deal, right? And then you have no front end left on your truck. The front end's about to fall out of it because you got slammed so damn hard into a concrete wall. Crazy.
Yes. So we get you home. The shortfall that we have when I sent it in is, we've made no arrangements to get you back to the truck.
Right.
So we've taken care of the hard part, which is to get them to acknowledge the exposure from the accident to the hotel, back to a doctor, and to get you home as promptly as we can, right? And to cover the hotels while that's happening. And, we will go after the other carrier for those exposures, right? So in this case of physical damage, we'll make a claim. The occupational accident is going to make a claim. The business overhead expense is going to make a claim. And chances are you're going to make a claim for the exposure that you lost.
Right.
Right. And they're all different companies, so they all act independently of one another. So that's how to take care of your claim.
So, and so, okay, that's a lot. That's a lot, right? So this is where a lot of our people have seen in the past, like you took the call at 2:00. I know you took one around 11:00 for another one. The last claim that I filed through our other insurance that we had offered to us, the in-house option, it took me 2 weeks before I ever talked to anybody. It took another 2 weeks before anything was done that was remotely close to getting any of the work done and repaired and looked at. And then they told me to pound sand on anything else. They just wanted to make the truck pretty again. That was it. And it took, I think by the end of that, and all it was replacing a grill, and that was it. The grill on the truck, and it took them 2.5 months to handle that. And of course, it had happened. It was another Swift contractor who had hit my truck on a Swift yard, and it took 2.5 months to settle this. It was. My point to all that mumbling is Tony and Sebrite, the people at Sebrite, everything that we've heard about this, like Tony gets this call and bam, he's making things happen. Not naming names, but the last one that we just had, well, the last one that I dealt with, that guy's like, man, I don't know what to do. I'm like, you call Tony right now. He called Tony. Tony picked up. He's like, holy shit, I'm actually didn't know what to do. Tony's got me squared away. He's got me an Uber. I'm getting over to the hospital. He told me, which kind of steps I need to follow. And if I had called any other insurance company on the world, an agent, a claims adjuster, they'd have been like, bro, why are you calling me? I don't even want to talk to you. Like, I don't know you. And it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know how to talk well enough about this. It's just, insurance is just a crappy discussion for most people.
For most
they're
of
like,
us,
it's insurance, man. It's insurance. They're just out to screw you. I've seen comments in the chat, and yes, I read the comments, by the way, and you can keep talking crazy. That's fine. But insurance, people feel insurance is a scam. Well, whatever. You may feel it's a scam, but it's something we have to have. We can't work out here without the insurance because of the way everybody goes after a truck, right? I mean,
right.
They could literally drive into the front of you the wrong way on a road, drunk out of their mind, and they're going to try and sue you. And there's a chance they're going to win somehow, which baffles the shit out of me. It just, I don't understand it. But if we don't have this insurance, if we don't have these things, then you're just out there and now you're giving your house away because you threw a rock off a tire and broke somebody's windshield and you just lost your house over that.
Yep.
I don't know.
Well, even when I was discussing the different coverages with Scott, you look at if something were to happen, what's it going to cost you versus what are your premiums?
Right.
And we all hope that we never have to call you, Tony. I mean,
right?
That is the hope. I hope that you just collect money from me until I retire and I never need it. But if I ever do,
that's what it's for.
That's what it's for. One of the first things you said to me, Tony, was my insurance that I purchase protects the world from me, and Charley's insurance protects me from him.
Right.
Yep.
You need protection from me.
And like a lot of people, Tony, you probably hear this a lot. I've told Charley this a couple times. I was not a fan of insurance at all, any way, shape, or form. I had similar opinions to what was in the comments forever, but a lot of it's because I just didn't understand insurance. Right. No, I'm paying, in my case, for my homeowners and my auto. I'm paying, American Family Insurance for the last 20 years. Never had an accident, never had a claim on my house. I'm just paying these freaking premiums,
Right.
But let's say my homeowners, I live in Utah, so probably not going to happen. But what if a tornado landed on my house?
Right.
I can't afford $500,000 to replace my house.
Right.
And that's what it's for.
Right.
It's to make people whole. It's to make people whole when bad things happen. And it really is. It's a lot like a gamble. You're betting that I'll never need it, and I'm betting that I will. That's the relationship. That's an oversimplification, obviously, but that's especially we live in a world where people are constantly, every day. You look at the news feeds. Somebody just won the lawsuit lottery yesterday.
Right.
That's the world we live in. So yeah. Do you want to take these two questions that people had for you, Tony?
Sure.
Because I know we already have an answer for this one.
Yeah. Brian just said, maybe the insurance guy can help me with something. I filled out a passenger form with Sebrite and submitted. Talked to Scott at his office yesterday. Was told he'd get back with me soon. Crickets.
Well, I'm in the office today. I didn't see Scott. But keep in mind, you guys have the 800 number. There are more people in the office than just the person you talk to, and you are in the system.
Right.
If you, for passenger accident, if Scott tells you it's bound, or anybody tells you it's bound, it's bound. Get your certificate. Passenger accident is something we issue on the spot, right? The only thing that there are limits to the passengers. You can't run around with an infant, right? You can't run around with a 6-year-old. There's a little bit of a weight limit. So they ask those questions, and you should have got that immediately. Call Mary in the morning. She's in here at 7:15, and
Mary's awesome.
Yeah.
Like for real.
A very good person, easy to get along with. And if she can't find the answer, Mary will call me no matter what time it is. And so it should have been bound. I can't imagine why it wouldn't. If you came with another form of coverage, sometimes it will take time. Sometimes it's predicated on your history, and we look at all that. But for passenger accident, it's a simple thing.
Wasn't there a thing where at one point there was a discussion about, I thought Swift was saying something along the lines that we had to use their passenger and we couldn't have our outside. They required you to use theirs. I don't know what the hell ever happened with that.
So here's what I understand. If you want passenger accident, Swift has rules, and they use that insurance to enforce their rules.
Right.
Which we want to adhere to that.
Oh,
Whatever
absolutely.
Swift says, we want to be a team player and adhere to that. What we found out, the reason we started offering is they have, let's say you're a husband and wife, right? And she rides around with you all day, or he rides around with you all day. I've had it both ways, I guess. And it's a permanent fixture. Then they said, well, go to Sebrite and they'll write it. Right. It's when it's that one off. Right.
Okay.
So we want people to do the right thing for what Swift is asking.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that's why I say it would help if I went and sit down with Swift, right?
Right.
A meeting with Brett. I'd actually like to meet him.
Oh, and Brett's fun to talk to because that guy goes squirrel on you in a minute. What? It's just out of nowhere. He's hard to keep focused. He's like I am. He just, there's like 19 things going on. He's got to go after it. So Andrew asked, What if we have an outside truck that's non-Swift equipment? Can we add that to our current Sebrite policy?
So
I'm
the
assuming that
answer is we can insure the truck. I have no problem with that. But Swift has all the information. That is what we do all this for, right? So at the end of a year, we can tell you almost literally anything you're going to look for the future of, especially on the accidents and the data. And so, yes, we can write that truck, and yes, we can write that its own policy, but I'd be hesitant to, if Swift's not involved in that truck, there is no reason to have Swift on that policy. You've just implicated your partner that he has nothing to do with.
Right.
So we would write it, but it needs to be written separately. And I would prefer, even if you have your policy written in a company name, there's no reason to put Swift's name on it.
Right.
Right? You don't want to be sued by Swift, and I want to protect you and Swift.
So let's actually dip into that, Tony.
So and
Go,
he
Jeff.
can clarify this, but if he bought a truck from the outside, brought it in, and it's leased to Swift, though, then it can just that's a different deal, though.
That's a different story.
Yep.
Okay.
Swift is involved, right? So if you're out running across the road and you go home and buy a hopper and a truck, Swift isn't in the business of hauling grain from farm to market.
Right.
Right? That needs to be in a policy covering farm to market.
Not yet.
Not yet, but yeah. Right.
Yeah.
There could be some acquisitions coming. Who knows?
So, yeah, but that's what we would do. So we need to keep in mind when we give you answers, usually I'm assuming everybody's going to ask a lot of questions, right? But from our office, it's because we have to protect everybody and make the right call. We don't get the luxury of making bad calls because when we do, it's a big claim.
Right.
You're not coming for me for $50,000. They're going to come after me for millions.
Right. So I wonder if we could. There is this thing going on around some of the other insurance policies that we're hearing about, other agencies, other offerings, we'll call it that, that apparently aren't handling claims the way you guys handle claims. Basically, they're looking for any reason they possibly can to dump this on Swift's head. Whereas every time Jeff and I talk to you in the background, we're like, okay, so this is what we need, and you're like, okay, but here's what we got to do. We got to protect you, and we need to protect Swift. We need to make sure that both parties are protected. We're not going to harm one over the other. That it has to be win-win. Otherwise, it's a no deal, right?
That is true.
That blew mine and Jeff's brain up. I mean, Jeff and I are always about win-win situations, but you don't hear that when it comes to insurance. And this is why we believe you guys are just head and shoulders above anything else that we've had offered or can find out there in the world. Yeah.
Well, we hope everybody who's an owner or operator understands their business for themselves, and we need to protect that business. And sometimes when you guys are new and you're just coming into the business, there is so much that you don't know about transportation. I promise you.
Yeah.
I've owned trucks, drove trucks. I've had drivers killed in the line of driving trucks. We have had. I had a guy driving down the road under an intersection, lifted the dump on his truck and took out a street light, 2 poles, pulled cars through the intersection.
I'm always baffled when I see those videos.
Yeah. Yeah. We've seen it all. And he was a trainer showing a brand new person how to drive.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah. Right. He just wasn't paying attention. Took it out of the cradle and up it went. That end up just snap, snap, snap. And then when it got to the big wire to protect everybody, it just buckled up and pulled everybody through the intersection. So I get it. So in that case, there's a balance between, Swift overstepping their bounds. But I got to remind owner operators, you can be mad. There's no reason you can't be mad. It may not do you any good, but you also can't overstep your bounds. There's
Right.
a partnership. You need them as much as they need you, right?
Mhm.
You can go out somewhere else and lease on. Will you be any happier? I don't know.
Right.
But if Swift treats you fairly, right, and the things that they bring to you to help assist you in your business, having this forum is, to me, it's the best thing I've seen. I can tell you, a lot of motor carriers having you two guys talk about the issues at hand. You know them, you live them, you breathe them,
Right.
right? And people side with you. I'm amazed, right? When I was there, you guys, because you live it, it makes a difference. Because we live it here, because that's what I did. I have a compassion for both sides of the coin,
Right.
and I don't consider Swift the boogeyman, right? And I don't
Right.
consider the driver to be illiterate. I
Right.
consider the driver to be a businessman, and for under most cases, one of the things I've said for the last 10 years is that in order to drive for a company and be an owner operator, they should make you sit down an owner operator course and go through the business aspect of running a business,
Right.
We agree.
right?
Absolutely.
Not to force you, but to help you,
Right.
right? You know, do you know you live on depreciation? Depreciation is a huge part of your asset, right? Do you know
Mhm.
how to read a balance statement? Do you really know if you're making money?
Right.
Looking in your
And
checkbook is the worst barometer, right?
seriously.
Because no expenses have come out. You need to know. And anyway, my point is, I always think those kind of issues are the greatest thing you can do. And what I saw in Vegas, you guys are putting that for them. If they use it, if they don't
Mhm.
use it, it doesn't help them.
Right.
But to be a part of that for me has been a blessing. We're growing.
Oh, I scrolled you. Sorry, Tony. I
Oh,
was putting it up so I would. I was putting it up so I wouldn't forget it.
Yeah, we're getting
oh,
we're getting comments from the peanut gallery that we need to put Randy's question up there, so we did.
Yeah.
I see.
We were
And
getting. I
a
promise. I had it
dedicated
start and
account
everything.
pulled their trailer. Who's there?
Randy
Uh.
is dedicated on target, I think, and so there's a thing with this. It's in your that's actually in the ICOA, and if you're talking about the deductible buy down, which Tony, I think they're talking about, because I think a lot of people understand that as the trailer policy, quote
Right.
unquote.
The trailer
Yes,
policy.
yes.
Right.
Without that deductible buy down, you are responsible for that trailer, the deductible on that trailer, which is $5,000. Without that coverage, according to your ICO, Charlie, are you trying to pull it up right now?
No,
No,
I don't have it on here.
you're doing something else. Okay,
I was
but yeah,
trying
we
to.
could
I thought
get.
I might have it, but I don't.
Yeah, we can screenshot that part of the ICO and post it up later for you so you can look at it. But as far as I know, Tony, that other than the deductible buy down, we're not buying any type of Swift equipment trailer coverage, are we?
No.
It's all that stuff is covered by them.
Yes.
And I actually, when I was talking to Scott again, I ran the numbers. You guys need to run your own numbers, man.
Right.
Call your guy, whether it's Scott or whoever. Run the numbers. And I figured out that if I didn't have the deductible buy down and I wreck one of their trailers, like let's say I back it into Charlie's truck, and so
Another one of
he's
you
got to
people.
replace a grill and I've done damage to a trailer. It would take me 10 years of not paying that premium to equal what I would owe Swift.
Right.
And one of the things I told Scott was I plan on being retired from this from trucking in 10 years. So let's just go ahead and buy that coverage, because I generally don't. I generally don't ding trailers, but you know what happens as soon as you say that, right?
Oh yeah.
One of those yellow pulls reaches out of nowhere and grabs you. at a store or something.
I watched a
Yeah.
guy run over a yellow barrier the other day. It was like the most amazing thing I've ever watched in my life lately. It just drove square into it. Just drove into it, pushed it 4 feet, knocked it over, busted his radiator, backed out of it, and then tried to drive away with dumping 10 gallons of coolant around the truck stop. It was kind of interesting to watch because it's like he didn't even know what happened. He just kept going.
So here's an interesting claim that I have. Tell me what you think. You get in an accident. You rear end a small pickup truck. Okay. And he's got one of them Reese receivers on it, right?
Mm.
And it goes right through the grill, right through the radiator. And I'm sitting there thinking, gosh, you wouldn't think a pickup would set that high, right? And how did he get over the bumper?
Right.
Mhm.
But the ball, it made contact with the radiator and it was leaking. So the driver pulls over at a truck stop, goes in, and buys $50 worth of stop leak, puts it into the radiator, clogged the radiator. Truck overheats, warp the heads.
Mhm.
Is the guy in the pickup responsible for that engine?
So the big
I
truck
wanted-
rear-ended the pickup.
I
Yeah,
want to
the-
say no.
The
Yeah, I
I want to
semi,
say no.
the semi ran into
Right.
the truck, the little pickup truck. Okay. It was a Ford half-ton truck. I mean, them things just don't set that high. So
Right.
how it got
Right.
over the bumper, I don't know.
That's
Right?
magic already. Yeah.
Yeah, unless it had a lift kit in it or something, and he didn't take
Mhm.
pictures of the vehicle, you know, they didn't call the cops. So there's no record. It's a he said, she said, but they did swap numbers, which is you wouldn't have the other gentleman's phone number in your pocket unless he gave
Right.
it to you and you
Right.
don't live in the same town. There's
Right.
no reason for you to run around. Are you related? Is he
Right.
married to your sister? Whatever. However, he put all that stop leak in and turned the engine overall into. Wait a second. The truck actually backed in. That's what it was. He pulled
Okay,
up
he
to a
backed
stop,
in.
got too close, and the
Okay.
guy went into reverse and backed up instead of going forward at the stoplight. So it was it was the pickup's fault, but he backed into the truck. So he
Okay, I'm
turned
gonna.
in the radiator, and then he turned in the engine.
I would say because he put the stop leak in there that he screwed that up by doing some sort of unauthorized repair. That's
Yeah,
what I
that's
would feel.
that's the correct answer. He has to be able to make that truck movable, but putting something in that clogs holes
Right.
in your radiator and not knowing what you did and you clog the entire bottom core shut,
Oh my God. Yeah, that
right?
would suck.
So if you're not a mechanic, don't be a mechanic.
Right? For real. Like just good God. Well, okay, so Sean, this is Sean, by the way, Bear Hunter. He said, how does the glass coverage work? I have a small chip star. Do you repair, replace, or would it be simpler for me to just cover and make it a business expense?
Well, they're all options. So let's start. What state are you in, Bear?
Sean's in Texas.
Texas. Okay. So Texas isn't a glass state, so you should get it fixed because the windshield is the basic integrity of that unit, right?
Right.
So if I tell you, oh, you can drive with it, and then it cracks, and then all of a sudden you have an accident, and then the whole thing collapses and you're decapitated, not a good day,
Dude, right.
No.
So we've already built in enough premium understanding that you guys are on the road all day, every day. Windshields break, things come off the road. We get it.
Right.
Call in, get it fixed. Right? The fix, typically it's a replacement. Now, sometimes depending on the chip, I've seen them repair the chips, but 99% of the time, it's just easier to stick a new windshield in. It's better for you. So I'd get it fixed.
In other words, Sean, he said, quit screwing around.
Yeah.
And
Don't
we've
drive
already had
around
a
with a chipped windshield.
and we have had a couple guys already use the glass coverage, and they're pretty doggone happy with it. So
Oh, Sean's being cheap. He said he just didn't know if the deductible payment would be worth it.
The
you know,
deductible payment? There is. So the deductible, Texas, wait a second, don't quote me on this, but it's $15.
So Sean, shut your mouth.
Yeah, so there are only there are 3 deductibles, right? If you're in 6 states, Florida, and I don't know them off the top of my head at the moment, it's a 0 deductible state law.
Right.
Okay. And then we have 2 states that require a $15 deductible, and then we have a couple states that require 100.
Mhm.
So that's the basic, $100 down.
Mhm. So, Sean, the other thing I would say is if you're in Phoenix, like Charley is right now,
Right.
the Phoenix shop will repair that glass chip for $5 if it's repairable. Just saying.
Is there any other locations that will do that?
That's the only one that I've personally done. That's at the Swift Body Shop. So any place that's got a Swift Body Shop, that's what Charley. That's Memphis, Phoenix, West Valley, Greer, maybe Greer. I think
Greer has a body shop. Yeah.
By the way,
any of the ones that have an actual body shop, they'll do the repair.
We have had nothing but praise out of Swift Body.
Nice.
Which is a huge thing.
Oh, here's one. And any progress on getting trainers covered, Tony? Sorry, man.
No, that's okay. So we had calls today. Somebody must have released something that said Swift's willing to sit down and figure this out and put it together, and I should make a call tomorrow. And so we had a number of those calls. So Sandy has actually spoke. So apparently, let's say by Friday, I can get Charley or Jeff the decision what it is and what they're willing to do. So apparently they've reached out, and today was a bad day because I was in depositions all day.
Oh, the joy of that side of the world.
Isn't that fun?
Oh man, I do not envy you there at all.
Okay. So Sue will know why I'm putting this up. Yes, Sue, I'm getting on my bottom dollar this for Bear Hunter. Got to make that boat payment. Yeah, so Sean, we were talking about you today. Sue and I were, just so you know.
Oh Lord. Listen, Andrew, don't encourage him. Don't encourage Sean. Just pretend like he's not there for a minute. It's fine. Oh, Tim says Memphis fixes rock chips as well. So there you go.
Yeah. So
Hey,
the repair, like if you're gonna have it where they do the drill and fill, really cheap. But they will measure it, and if it's too big, they'll tell you, "No, you got to replace that." So.
Yeah, I got a little star chip I should actually go look at tomorrow. That whole thing.
Yeah, you're there.
That blitz thing, right? And I got to bring their broken trailer back. So apparently, yeah, never mind. Just not even going to go there.
Charley didn't properly pre-trip his trailer.
No, actually, Jeff, when we walked in just now, we heard the air leak that they had heard. That was not there at my 30-minute break.
So you hit
because it was clearly audible, and I haven't stopped since my 30-minute break till we got here. So
when did you stop hitting things?
You know what? I didn't hit anything. You just stopped. But nothing was on the road today. I didn't run over anything. I got Justin over here. Is like, oh sure. Look, you guys
spoken like a former PI right there.
Whatever. By the way, so Justin let me use his office. I'm like in the owner operating office over here.
Tell people
Justin
who
Muniz is he's the
owner operator.
It's Oola, OOLA, Oola. I just like because I saw him on a video one time, and he's like, yeah, so Ula's, and I'm like, the way he said Ula was like, oh, that's kind of hot. I don't know why. Watch. I'm gonna totally screw this up.
Oh
Don't you
my
have a
God.
root
That's
canal?
Justin.
Hi, everybody.
That's Justin.
Welcome to Phoenix.
Dude, it's like hella hot here. Like I was not prepared because we woke up in like I don't know 30 degrees this morning, and by the time I got here it was 97. So I like the heat, but I just was not prepared mentally. I didn't even think about how hot it was going to be down here today. Oh my god. And
All
yeah,
right.
what's up, Dan? Good to see you. Look, Life on 18 Wheels just finally caught the name, Jeff.
Oh, someone finally caught it, huh?
Jeff's little guano psychopathy expert. He's batshit crazy. There you go. Broke it down for you.
Yep. Yep. I've been trying out new job titles every week, Tony.
Yeah, it's pretty comical. Some of them have been. This was actually probably one of the better ones.
Yeah.
Should have used a new game room. No way, dude. It's too dark in there. It's like scary in there, and those guys, like gamers, they freak me out sometimes, bro. They're like, shut up, man. I'm trying to kill people.
My favorite is you see a guy in there with a $5,500 Alienware laptop, right? Does he have a headset? Nope. $5,500
No.
laptop, playing Call of Duty, bugging everybody all the way out to the Jake Break Cafe, and he can't
Right.
afford a freaking $100 headset.
Die, die, die. You're like,
Oh,
bro,
those guys.
calm down. It kind of
They
freaks
had
you out
one
in the
guy.
terminal. You're like,
They had
what's
one
going
guy.
on?
Did you hear about this, Charlie? They had a guy, the new that big home theater they put in for us. Went in and hooked his laptop in. It was playing Call of Duty on that freaking big 80-inch screen in there. That made people happy.
Right?
So you guys have more questions for Tony? We have the expert here, and anytime we have these guys on, is a good time to ask your questions. I
By all
can't
means,
stress
get
enough.
him in.
Insurance is one of those things that as you know, Tony, most people would rather have a root canal than talk about insurance, and as a result, most people don't understand it. People don't ask questions because it's just like, every time we talk to Tony, and I don't know if we've expressed this to you, Tony, but every time we talk to you, Charlie and I call each other and say, hey, how's your head?
Oh my god.
And it's like, I don't know. I think I need a nap now.
the amount of stuff that we learned, like every single time we talk to Tony on the phone, we're like, bro, did you catch that? We're like writing notes. We're like, wait, did he say that? Oh my god, this is broken.
Yep.
And look, I never wanted to learn about insurance, and we've learned far too much over the last few months, and thankfully so, mind you. But holy hell, there's just too damn much, man, and that's why we need someone like Tony. Wait,
Right.
like Tony.
There you go.
So that we have a guy. It's like we have a guy, and he's got lots of really smart people that are really awesome. And Mary, absolutely my favorite person in that office. I'm just gonna say it out loud.
I'll tell you
Absolutely
that.
seriously, because she is just phenomenal.
All 65
And-
pounds of her.
Oh, right. We've got to go up there and meet these people just because we talked to them, and I'm like, I got to go see, because nobody ever expected Tony to be Tony. I mean, you see Tony, and he's could be out on a motorcycle one day, he could be in his overalls the next day, he could be doing both. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's funny because we didn't have a real clear picture of Tony, right? And when we got to Vegas and he was checking in, I'm like, oh, that's Tony right there. That is Tony right there. Just checking in. Had to be our guy. And we walked over. Hey, Tony. He's like, oh, yeah, what's up, guys? And it was awesome anyhow. And then he lost his laptop, and then good God, it went downhill from there. What did I mean?
That's all right.
Tony explained the business coverage. Oh, here's one from Craig. Tony, explain why the business coverage you all offer is important for the ones who don't have Sebrite.
Let me
That is a
explain
good
that.
one.
So let's say that you have your policy with Swift, and that's fine, and more power to you. So when you have that policy with Swift, that policy is issued to Swift. Covers you, but it's issued to Swift. And it's designed to run your household expenses. You're in business for yourself.
Right.
There's no coverage for the business. And those business expenses don't quit just because you stop driving the truck. They continue on. If you don't have expenses, you're Charley or you're Jeff, right? You're still entitled to the money. The business can have expenses. So the business overhead expense will pay you an additional $1,500 a month. If you want to take your kids to Disney World, I don't care. Right? If you need it to pay a truck payment, if you need it to pay last month's oil changes or whatever you're charging, it needs to come to the business. And we recognize that business of the owner operator. The only point Swift recognizes the owner operator is on the name of the policy, and it's the driver.
Right.
Right? Your certificates. So we issue the policy to you and cover Swift, right? You can't get to Swift through me because they are an additional named insured on your policy and will protect your business. So if you have good insurance, you've taken the time to learn the business aspect, and that's coverage, then there's no reason to go after a Swift or any other motor carrier.
Right.
It's when you don't take care of yourself or the policies that you've bought don't protect you, but they're not negotiated by you. That's the exposure. In this case, we have a group, right? And they can come in and you can buy more than what you asked for. And we will give you options, right? So your current coverage through the current carrier will not pay for the hotel rooms. What happens if you get in an accident tomorrow morning and you wake up and you got a hotel bill and you're 900 miles from home? What happens? You guys know. Tell them.
Yeah, you're SOL.
Yep.
Call mama. Call your girlfriend.
Right.
Your
Call
big
somebody.
Boy. Pull up your big boy pants. That's not the answer.
Cardboard sign on the side of the road.
Right. The answer is we realize that there's a gap. We fix the gap.
That, when this all went down, you and I and Jeff, we had a really good conversation. We're like, what can we do about this? Like, granted, we all should have money. We all should have an emergency credit card. If there's one thing to use credit on, that emergency credit card might be one of those things, right? But then life happens, real things happen, and all of this bad things seem to happen all at the same time. So you get in a wreck, happens to be the worst week you've ever had trucking, no settlement, your dog died. Country song, enter it here, right?
Yes.
It all happens at the worst, the most inopportune time.
Right.
And so we had this conversation. How do we fix this? Is there a way to fix this? Oh, that doesn't even exist out there. Hey, let's talk. Let's see what we can do. And then Tony came up with this thing that's like freaking amazing.
Yeah, we got it done. It took 2 days. It took a week for an actuary to go over it, but we got it done. We got it put together. We got it filed. We got the addendum made, and now we're ready to put it to market, and we can do that. And as we see things fall through the cracks, we will fix, and that becomes the value. You can cuss insurance all you want till you absolutely need it. Health insurance is a huge expense, probably as much as all your insurance today, right? Until you need that surgery, until you need that doctor.
Right.
And then what's it worth? It's worth everything.
Absolutely.
Right.
And for those of us that play the limits, right? Smoking cigars and cigarettes, and
I'm down to like 2 a day.
Wire. Right.
Right.
It's okay.
Again, too, so Charlie's a math guy too, but I enjoy talking about it a little more. And again, my wife and I sat down and did the math on the extended coverage on the OCAC side, that $1,500 a month coverage. And we figured out that $35 a month. If I were to get hurt, that additional coverage that we get, even though I don't have a truck payment that I'm responsible for at this point. So between the two policies, right, the OCAC and the add-on, that is our monthly household bills. So if I got hurt without that additional coverage, we'd be about, $2,000 in the hole every month that I was laid up. With that additional coverage, we're in a much better position to take care of me, get me well, so that I can go back to work. None of this, we're not going to out people's names, but none of this getting into a truck with internal injuries because I have a house payment to make. With that coverage, I can take care of me, get
Yes.
better, and then get back in the truck. We've had people, Tony, that slipped on their steps, fell down, and literally broke their ass. Right? They broke their tailbone. Happens.
You're not going to drive.
How are you going to sit in the seat when you have a broken ass? I mean, go take care of yourself. That's an OCAC claim right there.
It is, and it will get paid. And the problem is, if you're not insured properly, you're not going to enjoy that time off.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is that you should, if you have a bad day, whatever the bad day is, at the end of it, you should be covered so that it doesn't impact you for the next 6 months. And that's really what we're trying to achieve, right? I mean, you just wish that you could sit down with everybody one-on-one and give them an education first, and then if they say no, great. Bear, can you explain the out of work?
Yeah, I think he's asking about the OCAC.
The disability?
Yeah, I think on the payout side of it. Like, what's the payments and frequency on the coverage, and can we increase that coverage?
Okay, great question. Gosh, Bear, he must have been eating beets for breakfast.
Right?
So here's the answer. So you have short-term disability, and the short-term disability kicks in at 7 days. You have to be out of work for 7 days. At the end of 7 days, we go back to day one and pay. And we'll pay that for 104 weeks. At the end of 104 weeks, your long-term disability kicks in. Depending on your age, depending on your date of birth, it will either go to 65 or up to age 70 if you continue driving. If you're over age 70 and you're still driving, it will go for 1 year past 70. Right? So if you are still driving, you're 72, you go down, we'll pay for a year because you're on Social Security. Okay? And can you increase it? Yes. Simply, the answer is yes. You can. If your earnings are higher, you can come back to us and ask. But keep in mind, the earnings are net earnings. And when you have an accident, they're going to make you show gross and net earnings.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so you want to make sure that, and that's what the BOE does. It takes that guess out of it.
Gotcha. And Tim was asking, what's the deductible on hospital bills from an accident?
0.
There you go. That was an easy question. I feel like that answer should be much longer.
You did not even hesitate on that. That's great.
Yeah, just bam, have a 0, pow. Okay, this is definitely a Sean question. Does it go by body or actual life years?
Well, you're screwed, Charlie, if it's by body years.
It's over. Sean, because that man is just a train wreck. Let's just be real. Oh Lord. So I'm trying to look for more. I guess Sean said, so do I understand it's $1,500 a week? No.
On the supplemental it is, right?
No, it's a month. I'm assuming what he's talking about is the BOE.
Right, the BOE.
And the BOE is an additional $1,500 a month. So under the contract, you go in under $1,500. The new policy will be raised sometime in July or August and the rate will stay the same, but your amount of earnings will go up. And the reason we're doing that is because the trucks are getting so expensive, right? Fuel. Just at home, I have a farm, and I was going to change the oil in the tractors to get them in ready to go. And an oil filter was $80, and the oil to change it was $600. Right?
Holy hell!
So it's as bad as trucking. So we decided we have to look. The cost of inflation is getting higher than we anticipate, right? They may tell us that the inflation rate is only 10%, but when products are doubling, it seems like every 6 to 8 months, we have to adjust, right? And if we raise the limits, it'll never come back down.
Right.
But there's a point now that we're growing with so much of you guys, and our regular book of business is growing, and we're seeing a trend that we're pushing the envelope. So we have to adjust them, and it should be done by August. It may be done sooner, and we'll send out an announcement.
So the OCAC pays out a weekly thing on your house bills, basically, just to retouch on it. And the DOE is going to pay out on a monthly basis over your business expenses.
Yeah, so the occupational accident pays out a weekly benefit every 2 weeks. Okay. So you get a check every 2, but it's at a monthly cap. And so the BOE pays once a month. And the beauty is, if the OCAC pays, the BOE will pay instantly. So we know the claim is legitimate, and it's just an easy claim from there.
Gotcha. And you see anything else that's popping up there, Jeff? Did I miss any of them?
No, Sue was complaining to Bear Hunter about something, but
yeah, she just needs to kick him already and be done with it.
She did have a pretty good point here. Sue Smith, have you figured out yet what it costs you per day when you're not running? That goes for everyone.
It's a good question.
Yeah, that's part of your calculus, guys, when you're looking at these coverages. What does it cost you per day when you're out of action? Can you afford that if you were to get hurt? Probably not. So again, we're playing the odds here.
Right.
We're betting that eventually we're going to get hurt. The insurance companies are betting we never get hurt. I mean, that's the game. But if you need it, you need it. No question.
Statistically, you're going to get hurt. And so the question is, have we collected enough premium to pay all the claims, right? And
right.
And it's the margins are small. So the lady, Mrs. Smith, I didn't see the first name, asked a question about per day. So keep in mind, there is a clause in our contract that says if you're hurt at home while not on duty, that we will provide an additional benefit for medical bills to cover your deductibles, and I can't remember and I don't have the policy right in front of me. What an idiot, right? But I think it pays either $1,500 or $2,500 for those injuries. So if you're at home and your grandson jabs you in the eye with a hot dog stick, roasting hot dogs, and you go to the hospital and you get it fixed, you go to the doctor and get it fixed, and you take that bill, submit it to your health insurance company, submit it to us, and we will pick up to $1,500 or $2,500. I can't remember without reading it. But it's also on your proposal in clear blue or clear ink.
Right.
So you can see that. So we have non-OC benefits.
Nice.
There's also, when these guys will all get their notification this coming Monday about the software to manage all their insurance.
Right.
Okay. Inside that, all the claim forms will run. So you can access this. Right now, none of you know what we're talking about, but eventually we'll do a show and we'll have Randy come on and show you how to use it. But all your insurance certificates are in there. Your actual policies will be in there. How to have a claim, how to take care of a glass claim, how to take care of an OCAC claim, phone numbers, claim number, everything you need to do it. And you can access it from your phone. And one
Nice.
of the key components in there is, I've had an accident. What do I do?
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. Number one, don't jump out of your truck and start taking pictures. They're making metal every day. We can take care of it. Human life splattered on the road. Don't do anybody good. Right.
Mhm.
No doubt.
Yeah. So your truck didn't cost $500,000 and we were going to pay $500,000 for your splat. So what I'd appreciate is that you take care of yourself, assess it,
Right.
make sure you don't have bats in your belfry. If somebody rang the bell, take care of yourself, and then we'll take care of your truck. Okay. But all that information is at the tip of your phone. You can actually talk into your phone and say, I bought a new truck, add insurance. And we'll send out the notifications to everybody.
Right.
Now, that's provided you put the information in there. But the insurance that we sell you will automatically be uploaded in that system.
Right.
And you can, if you can hit the little microphone button, you can do changes.
Right.
Right? That's
Jeff and I got a pretty good tour of the software, and it's pretty amazing what it does and what it can do and what it could do and what we should be doing with it.
Right.
Yes.
Little teaser there. That just totally screwed everybody up. They're like, what the hell did he just say?
Yeah, so it's coming. Hey, one more. I got this down and I forgot to bring it up the last time, so I'm going to bring it up this time. Beneficiaries. Beneficiaries are crucial in this policy. Do you know why?
Because otherwise the state gets it.
Okay, that's true. However, we
Oh,
hope
my
that
bad.
you don't. We hope you don't leave it blank and let it go to your estate. But you can make it payable to your estate if you have a will, and that's great. We'll accept that. And then you have the right. So I get this question repeatedly. So when you get that payout, let's say that you've lost your life, right? You have the ability to give out a lump sum payment, or you can give your loved one $2,000 a month for 100 months.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
And you ask yourself, can she live on $2,000 a month with her regular whatever the conditions are? You can justify that yourself, right? Sometimes you give them to her $250,000 and they had a trip to the casino and now you're not happy.
I think she's gonna opt for the single payment, and that joker's gone month one, baby.
We actually know a driver whose wife spent that much money just on DoorDash in a couple of weeks. While he was gone, yeah. Nope. I should say ex-wife.
Oh,
at this point, but yeah.
Oh, we're gonna get in trouble for that.
You know,
So
you
yeah,
know who you are, and you're
beneficiaries.
welcome.
And so oh God, sorry, Tony. We just went right over the edge there. Just right off the edge. Squirrels.
Go on.
I blame Rosie.
I'm in my corner.
Whatever, woman. All right, so the driver's wife needs to learn how to work. What? I'm gonna put that comment up because somebody needs to get punched. It'll probably be me. A driver's wife needs to learn how to work a stove. You heard that? You heard that?
The one that spent $2,000 on DoorDash.
Oh, that one. That's
Yep.
Yes. Wait. Now that makes sense. Now I'm coming back into it.
Does Andrew understand a cast iron skillet upside the head doesn't help?
No.
Oh. Rosie calls it pillow therapy. Anyhow, all right, guys. If you got any more questions, throw them up real quick. Otherwise, we're gonna make Tony crazy here because he's gonna be like, "What the hell? What is wrong with these guys? There's something wrong with these people." Oh, good God. Life on 18 Wheels asked on the Tim's thing, is that going to be in app form or is it
Yes.
just
Oh,
there you go.
That part I didn't know. I thought it was just web-based.
No. So there's an actual app that'll be you will get an announcement from us and then you can pull the app, load it onto your phone. You can carry it around, ask questions to it. So all you owner operators out there, we've had this conversation. We've addressed it before, and I'm sure nobody's fixed it yet.
And yes, this is
Oh
important
yeah,
from
that's a
Tim
real.
Ransom. Keep your beneficiaries up to date.
Yes.
You know, a woman, her husband died, and the ex-wife got the death money because he didn't change the beneficiary on his policies. That's a thing that happens a lot. Actually,
A lot.
We don't love them hoes. What?
Hey, you ain't being timeout again.
And
Family
leave
show.
it to your girlfriend and your wife nothing. And tell her in advance, because I can't tell her what to do. That happens.
Right? Oh my God. I just can't even picture that one.
Every day, Tony, I hear something that I'm like, I never thought it. People suck sometimes.
Just, I mean, seriously, holy hell.
Yeah. So
I left it all to my girlfriend, the one that lives in the Philippines, and didn't give you nothing, woman. Better watch your place, all right? I mean,
get him, Rose.
right? She's pillow therapy, she said. All right. Tony, if you're good, man, I think we covered what we need, because
Okay.
I don't want
I
to
will
keep
let
you
you
here
go then.
anymore, man. But seriously, we got to come back on and talk about the Tim's stuff. Now that everybody's like, Tim's, what is Tim's? That's the software
That's the
app
that
we've
he's
been talking about. And that's going to be coming up pretty soon, guys. So keep your ears out for that.
So the one thing that wasn't touched on is the compliance issue. I know that
Yes.
Tony's talked about it in the
Started.
past. Is the driver file that nobody has but should have. I'm just gonna put that out there because, you know, Tony, it's just people don't know what they don't know.
Yes,
Right.
we're going to
And-
make you legal, because we have a
and
copy
that
of your
was-
driver's license. And we're gonna bring your driver's files current, right? So that when that accident occurs that nobody wants to talk about, and the DOT comes climbing up your mailbox, you're fine.
And you know, Tony, that's also come up with Trucker CFO, the driver file thing. You know, if you're audited and you're
Yes.
defending yourself as a contractor in today's world, having that driver file, that's one of the things that an auditor is going to ask you for, depending on what they're doing. You know, when they do an audit, they're targeting certain things, but they might ask you for that. If you can't provide it, guess what?
Good
You're in
luck.
trouble. It's a fine.
Yep.
And there's reasons for it. You're out in the public. You can harm a lot of people. You got an 80,000 pound bomb strapped to your rear end.
Right.
Bad things can happen.
Exactly.
He's talking about you there, Rosie, when he says 80,000 pound.
Oh,
Never
for
mind.
heaven's sakes.
Oh, you're welcome,
You're
Tony.
gonna get
Welcome to my world.
Tony's
It's pillow therapy. I need
getting-
insurance for that.
That's part of being Charley's friend, Tony,
good
is that
God.
that you get the crosshairs time and time again.
You should
Luckily,
see the
Rosie's
look
like a
at
super
me.
smart individual, and she gets it, and she just pops him upside the head. He's always telling her that I said stuff.
It's
because
that
she
head
can't hear
injury
me.
thing. I just say it, and it comes out, and I don't realize till it's too late, and then it's all over. But the crying.
All right. So
Tony,
we got
thank you so
anything
much,
else,
man.
Tony?
We will definitely get back into more down the road, and hopefully, you know, I'll be a little better in my brain, because I was off today. I apologize.
Yep.
It was
All
mad
right,
dash.
guys, you have a good one. We'll talk to you.
Thanks, Tony.
All
We'll see
right,
you
man.
soon, buddy. Oh,
All
good
right,
God.
man. So we did have Life on 18 Wheels. Everybody,
Yep.
you know, at least once, people want to know about that load board. So
There you go.
Charley,
I have
did
no idea.
not attend the meeting today.
I was driving in the desert.
So I've been
On a
telling
horse with no
Charley
name.
all week as he struggled through this OTR thing, you know, and muddling his way
Hashtag
around the country.
OTR life.
And I've been telling him, well, you know, welcome to my life. Welcome to Bear Hunter's life. All of our lives. You're welcome. So the update is there is no update, really. They're still targeting August to release it to everybody. We have a new update that's coming up next week that The change that they're working on right now is to make the data on the load board live data instead of delayed data.
Right.
Not sure what that'll look like. Right now, we can't book any loads on the load board. I actually found it kind of entertaining when I was talking to Jerry White about it, because I asked him, well, what happened? And what happened was there was an actual update to the AS400 system, that that 1988 wonderful system that they still use for their IT.
Mhm. State of the art.
And he asked the AS400 people, he said, so this is not gonna mess with our load board stuff, is it? And they said, absolutely not. And then Jerry said, it absolutely did. So where we're at right now is we can see the loads, but
Makes
we can't
perfect
book the
sense.
loads. So what we have to do right now is we see a load we want, and we have to message Jerry Coretta and Sue on the group chat that we have going on, and they book the load for us, which is incredibly inefficient. But that's where it is right now. Obviously, a problem like this, they're going to have that fixed before they go live in August. I mean, if they don't, I don't know what to say. So that's the load board update.
Dude, I got to go up to Martinsburg tomorrow. Mechanicsburg, PA. Yeah, Mechanicsburg. I'm picking up a load out of Nogales tomorrow ish. And going up to Mechanicsburg. So yeah, and then I'm gonna run away as quick as I can. We'll see how that works. Oh, good God. Life on 18 Wheels wants Sue to share her secret spot. What? Oh, fishing spot. My bad. Look, you said it, not me. It's there. Whatever.
Yeah, but your mind went dark. I know it did.
Andrew's talking about Sue's big reds. What? What? Oh, fish in the Keys. I get it. I catch up eventually. I'm just a little slow. What do you guys want from me? Yep, I'm gonna get put in timeout. It's gonna happen. I can feel it coming. Oh, I was gonna click on things. Whatever.
Yeah, if what she says, if I'm understanding correctly, we did. So we had a strategy session with Sue a couple Saturdays ago. I think it was last Saturday before, and her and Grant, Charlie's lover, was out
Sexiest man.
Was out there fishing while we were talking business, and it was fun. They were catching fish left and right, and then ended up with a wild boar. So
yeah, they kept no fish, but got a pig. I'm just saying, that's a great fishing day right there. Sue, no. Oh, damn it. You know what? If you guys got any questions or anything else you'd like us to dip into, please feel free to put those in the chat comment section thing over here, and we can dip into those, because I'm going to get hit some more if I start just winging things out of my face. Justin left me in his office. I think I should rearrange his desk. He went home.
Put our stuff out front. That's what you do.
Right? Oh, hey, look, I see cards here from Jeff Morton. Look at that.
Hey, how many of those stickers is he giving out? I gave him a whole stack.
There's not many here on the desk.
Oh, good.
There's only like 5 or 6. Or he's, plastered them somewhere else. That'd be funny. That would actually be pretty comical to, like, they're all over the bathroom or something. Good reading. I don't know. QR codes for the ES Advantage card. Rosie's like, she is literally moving things around on his desk now. And if this is on video, because I'm here, she's over there moving stuff.
And you know who's going to get crap for it, Charlie? I am, because I visit him more often.
You, yes.
And Dorian Thompson,
I don't know how to do it.
We can't argue with this statement. It is hard for owner ops to get freight with Swift right now.
It's hard for everybody to get Swift.
But we're going to say it's hard for everybody.
My bad, I jumped the gun, Jeff.
I'm going to go ahead and say this, Charlie. I was talking with Jason Pope the other day because he was in Phoenix. and he's been looking out there. And you know what he said was, there's some opportunity out there for sure, like there always is. But right now, he was looking at what he could make outside of Swift and with the percentage rates and stuff like that. And yeah, by the time everything's said and done with the higher insurance and this and that, everything he was talking about, you guys don't know what, but he ran his own authority for a while, right, Charlie?
Yeah,
Um,
something like that.
and so he's been around, and he's just like, yeah, right now, even as bad as it is, he's sticking with Swift. So yeah, and he was out there actively trying to figure out what he was going to do for his family. So that's something that you can take to the bank, as it were. Not us, other people.
There's a lot of people out there that are having the same struggle. It's
Right.
it's industry wide. I mean, sure, you got places that have great freight and all those sorts of things. That's fine. Um, it doesn't seem to be a huge. It doesn't seem to be the norm.
Yeah.
Still
And
too much
did you end
capacity
up
out
watching
there.
the did you end up watching the DAT thing today, or no?
No,
Or even
never,
listening to it?
never had a good enough signal to do it today
Yeah.
until I got
So yeah,
here,
they were
and then
they were
it's too
taught
late.
they were talking about the next 30, 60 days or whatever, and they are starting to see a little bit of a seasonal bump, but not much. Those of you that have been around a while are used to this. Okay, it's tough the first quarter, but then we get this surge. Boom. All right, off to the races, and that's still not really happening. They're seeing a little bit of a seasonal bump coming up to Mother's Day, and they think it'll continue on through 4th of July, but not the same as in previous years. So it was kind of an interesting listen. Oh, hey, so Trucker's Coach is on. Interesting. Yeah, so yeah, Trucker's Coach TV, who is Jason Pope. It's just as good here at Swift as it is anywhere else. You can gain nothing by moving in this market. Yeah. So, and I really
Yeah,
appreciated that conversation the other day, man.
and
So,
produce was really late this year. Like it's just, I mean, the California market was just totally screwed up from
well,
this year.
they were talking about that again too this week, and produce strawberries are supposed to be coming in right now for you reefer guys out of California, and those floods they had a few months back pretty much decimated the crop this year. So that we're not going to get that bump apparently.
Yeah, and
Slight
Craig's
bump
talking
in
about
freight.
right.
Yeah, slight bump in freight. Nothing to get excited about from Craig Hutchison. Yep. I mean, these are the times. I know it sounds mean to some guys. I know, they're these guys, but this is the time when you find out what you're made of as a business owner.
Right.
Can you survive this? Because this one's lasting a little longer, which is concerning even to Charlie and I that have been
Right.
through a few of
Yeah.
these. But we know what happens at the other end, right, Charlie? At the other
Yeah.
end of this, if you can survive, we're all in survival mode right now. If you can survive on the other end, there is absolutely a silver lining.
Oh yeah. And then do the thing that none of us ever want to do, and keep running your lean business when the times are good, so that you can put some more of that money away when the times are great, right? Because what do we all do when it gets great? We start spending more. We don't actually save it like we
Mhm.
should be. We don't save
Right,
jack, and we just go
right.
crazy and buy a $90,000 truck and a bigger boat, even though we
You
have a
need to
boat.
stop.
Sean,
You need to stop.
my bad. Oh, good God. Uh, so yeah, exactly. Tim said too many trucks, not enough freight. Once the herd thins out, it will get better. And you know what? That is what needs to happen, because we're just not gonna see a huge jump in the freight volumes. It seems to be pretty mellow. We're gonna see a little bit of a bump, hopefully pretty soon, but
Mhm.
it's just too many trucks. So
And one of the charts they were showing today actually tracked that a little bit. Capacity is still going down around 2,000 authorities a month right now.
right.
So part of the bump that we're seeing, they were showing this on a graph, is this. Get my hands straight here. Capacity and demand going like this, and eventually they'll cross over, and that's when we'll start seeing the bump. But it's taking a
Yeah.
really long time to get there. And they stressed again. They had a guest on today that does expedited freight, and I guess even expedited is not doing well right now.
Yeah, I think
Um,
when I was watching
and
the DAT show last week, they were talking about that last month there was 11,000 carriers that came in
mhm.
to as with new authority, but 13,000 went out. But can you imagine 11,000 coming into this market?
Mm.
That seems crazy to me, but I mean, whatever. I couldn't see three,
Yeah, what
let alone
Charlie and I are
11,000.
seeing, what Charlie and I are kind of seeing in the data is, I think that some of these guys were in the game back in '09 and got out and then saw the bump afterwards and said, well, that's what's going to happen again. So they're holding on for dear life right now,
Right.
just trying to make it to the end. And as a result, not enough of them are leaving. So the capacity is still a little high.
Right. Oh, look at Sean. Quit picking on me, man.
That's what you're here for, man. You're the comic relief.
And yeah, Randy, I'm kind of with you. But look, so at the same time, there are some people who probably should. Let's just be real. There is a certain number out there in the world that are not willing to do the things they need to do. They're not willing to run a tighter ship. They're not willing to build relationships. No matter how much it's us or anyone else telling them to do these things, they're just like, whatever. I want my cake and I want someone to feed it to me and rub my feet all at the same time.
And a little
And this,
fan.
yeah, and this is not the market for that.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I'm not telling you to go out and rub someone's feet for them, but this ain't the market. You need
Yeah.
to be looking after your numbers now, and you know what? Those people are going to weed themselves out. It's
Mm-hmm.
just natural selection. It just happens. Some of them are taking longer than others to go out, and I think it's because I think some of the numbers we're still seeing are those guys that got in so deep at the peak of it, and they're like, I am so deep in on my $80,000 truck that I bought for $300,000 because why not? The freight market was great, and I was making $12,000 a mile, right? And I'm gonna do it. And now they're like, I can't get out of this. I'm ruined if I am. I'm gonna stick it out to the bitter end until my truck blows up or something. I don't know, man. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I think just some of them are taking much longer to get out than it should have been, but we'll see what happens soon.
Yeah. I mean, it's a legitimate thing. When you're in so deep, I mean, it's human nature, right? Some of these guys are $1 million in debt, and they just they whatever it is in their character, they will not give it up.
Right.
And okay,
Andrew asked, you guys ever heard of cloud trucks, a virtual carrier? I've heard little bits and pieces, but don't know anything about it, so I couldn't actually speak it with any sort of like knowledge at all.
mm-hmm.
All right, guys, we're at hour 53. We're gonna throw up last call. If you guys got anything else you want us to hit on, please do that real quick. Uh, sorry, this wasn't the most exciting show we do, but this insurance stuff is kind of important. I think
Yeah,
if you came into it,
we actually didn't understand how important until we started looking into it. I mean, that's the truth.
and every week Jeff and I are learning more and more about it, which is it's crazy to
Annoying.
even think about it. Yeah, it's annoying, but it's crazy how much we keep learning. Like just when we're like, oh, we know it now. And then Tony's like,
And
"Hey, but
then
what about this?" And we're
curveball.
like, "What
What's
the
that?
hell you say? You mean there's what?" Oh, and it's just every damn time. Every time we talk to Tony, there's something that goes. like this. But I wanted to just go over some quick takeaways though. Um, Look, we love Seabright. We love them because of the service they're providing us. The customer service has been, I've never seen this kind of customer service anywhere else in any sort of insurance system ever that I could think of. Um, the coverages they're offering us, again, stellar. The claims process has been like this so far for everybody that's actually had claims, and we've had quite a few now at this point, so we can actually speak to it a little bit. Um, you know, there's somewhere else I was going to go with that, Jeff, and my brain just broke again.
Well, Seabright wasn't the only company we looked into. We looked into a
Right.
few other ones.
Oh, Lord knows.
And again, this is another shout out to Jeff Reese. Really, when we were shopping around, we asked Jeff, said, "Hey, you guys do this, you do that. They have a whole thing they do with
Right.
different aspects of the business. What can you tell us about insurance?" And Jeff said, "Hey, I got a guy."
Right.
And we said, "Oh," and he set up a meeting. And the initial meeting, we didn't know what to think because we got blasted with information that we didn't know.
Right.
And then we went to work, man. We started learning about this stuff, and we interviewed other insurance people. And here's the thing for me, again, my opinion about insurance in the past has been a lot like some of the comments you saw earlier in the show. It's a scam, and I hate insurance, and this and that. They're just making money to make money. I'm telling you, man, Tony changed my mind, at least as far as Seabright goes. This dude is 100% into the win-win scenario. When we first started this, you remember we were saying, okay, this is going to cost you about $20 a month more than you're paying Swift.
Right.
This is what it was, and we were still going to buy it ourselves for our trucks. Why?
Right.
Because of the win-win philosophy of that company. It turned out that Transtar decided to raise the rate by 2 full percentage points, which made Seabright the cheaper option on top of everything else. So talk about a win-win there. When all was said and done, people are paying less for their insurance and they're getting better service. I couldn't be happier.
And one of the other takeaways from today is and has been for Jeff and I is the way that we touched on it. How we said, well, we need this, and he's like, okay, we can do that, but we need to make sure it protects you and your carrier.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be win-win. And what we've seen in some of these other insurance carriers is they're like, okay, we're going to cover you, and then you have a claim, and they go after Papa Swift.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems like a damn shame to me. I mean, that doesn't really seem like they're, I don't know.
It's interesting, And there was a couple of times when you guys remember that have been around a while. It took us 3 months to put this package together. And the reason was because Tony's people kept going out and, all right, let's look at this. And then they look at the contract and say, be good for you guys, but Swift's going to get screwed. So no, we're not doing this. Let's go back to the drawing board and let's do something else. And that happened a couple times where it came down to, what did our contract say? And how do we protect both ourselves and Swift? And neither party gets hosed.
Right.
I mean, that's the way they did. That's the way they wrote it. So it's definitely different experience altogether. I was going to say something else, but I can't remember.
TikTok.
A minute.
Any last words, Jeff?
Be like Bugs Bunny.
What does that mean?
Bugs Bunny is the consummate fool in American society. But because he's a fool, he asks a lot of questions. So in the end, he's the smartest guy on the planet.
There you have it. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you all
That's
have
right.
questions and you're watching this later on, by all means, drop comments after the video. Put them in the Facebook group. Hit us in PMs, email, whatever you want. You guys, be careful. Take care of each other out there. There's no one out here looking after us but us. We will see you
Hit
next
that like
weekend.
button, subscribe.
Yes. Hit
ring a
that
dingy.
like, subscribe, ring a dingy thing. We
And
will see
hey, if
next
you
Tuesday.
if you think we can do better and you think that we're crap or whatever, hit the thumbs down too, and let us know what you think we can improve on.
Right? We
Use
ain't
the- use
scared. It's fine.
Use the comments.
Let us know. All right, guys. You guys be careful. Be safe. We will see you shortly. If anyone's in Phoenix, I'm here tonight. I'll be here tomorrow morning too. Can't tell you much past that. And we will see you next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time, like we are every Tuesday. And you guys be careful.
Paying too much for trucking insurance? What if you could save more by making one simple phone call and keep more profit? You could very well do just that with one simple call to Sebrite Agency, 800-366-6466. Call now. With over 35 years in business, top shelf customer service, and innovative commercial insurance solutions, here's what our commercial trucking community says about Sebrite.
I haven't had a claim as of yet, but I would rate them at a 5 just based on customer service. How nice everyone is when I call with questions. Robbie.
I am glad I made the switch. I saved roughly $450. A huge difference. Saving big with Sebrite. Darlene.
I have nothing but great things to say. Incredible answering my questions, helping me set up my policy, making sure everything is correct. Super friendly. Anthony.
If you're a Swift transportation contractor, Contractor's Corner Consulting Group and Sebrite have a special rate just for you. When you call, mention you are a Swift contractor and you are interested in the Contractor's Corner deal to save and keep more of your money in your pocket. Not a Swift contractor? No problem. Mention Contractor's Corner and let us show you the savings.
We asked the Sebrite team to help us help contractors save and keep more money. What they came up with exceeded by far what we thought was possible.
Call now to see what you can save. Sebrite Agency, 800-366-6466.